by the way, Nelson Bunker Hunt died this week. You probably all remember him. He's the one who was blamed for trying to corner the silver market back in 1980 and pushing the price of silver up to $50 an ounce. And one of my clients sent me I should have brought it with me, a really great article on Bunker Hunt out of a Dallas paper there. And, you know, he gets a lot of blame for running the market up. But if you read about him, it's, you know, go online and maybe pick up some stories, or maybe, you know, if you want a copy of the article, I can copy it and send you a copy if you call me at the office. That's 480-553-5282, or maybe we could put it on the website, huh? It's a really interesting article, and the reason I didn't plan on talking about this, but the reason I really enjoyed this article is when you say Bunker Hunt, for those of us that were around back in 1980 and remember the big crash, silver went from $50 to $10 overnight. Bunker Hunt, the Hunt brothers actually get all they get bad mouth for it. They get blamed for it. And if you look at what really happened, the Hunt brothers, they're just two good old boys, and they didn't trust the dollar, a lot like most people who are buying gold today. They didn't really trust the dollar. They didn't trust the government. The difference is these guys are billionaires, and they just didn't feel like joining the Billionaires Boy Club. And so they weren't really market insiders, okay? So they were fighting the system, but they had the money to fight the system. And what they really just came right out and told people what they were doing. At the time they started was 1970. They started buying silver. Well, the reason they bought silver was because gold was illegal to buy back in 1970. It wasn't until later that you could legally buy gold bullion in this country. So the Hunt started with silver and really just stuck with it. And by 79 and 80, what they were doing is they were buying contracts on the market and taking delivery. And what a lot of people didn't like about that, now this is perfectly legal. It's really what the markets are set up to do, to set up you know, for future deliveries. And so they told everyone what they were doing. They told people they were buying contracts and they were taking delivery. So they weren't just paper trading. They weren't just buying a contract and then selling it off and taking their profits. They were just actually trying to buy silver, and that's the way they were going about it. It's really interesting because as they start taking delivery, and again, this was common knowledge, they came right out and told people they were doing it, you had all these big companies shorting silver, going against the Hunt brothers. And I don't know if they were just dumb or they didn't get it or what the deal was. I mean, if you have a billionaire telling you, I'm buying contracts and I'm taking delivery, and so you sit there and say, huh, I guess I'm going to go against these guys and short all this silver I don't have and hope they don't really want it. What a great position. So Makata Metals, who was one of the big metals dealers back then, shorted $400 million worth of silver. The problem is they only had $40 million. So all of a sudden they're coming up to the time they have to come with $400 million worth of silver. They go to their bank. They're only worth $40 million. They have no way to raise $400 million. The Hunt brothers go visit Makata Metals. They let them off the hook. They take what they can get. I mean, they basically saved Makata from going bankrupt, saved these guys from being in the gutter. And, you know, 6 months later, Makata joins the guys who basically take the Hunt brothers to the cleaners. So they get in there. Paul Volcker changes the rules. The SEC changes the rules. And it was really funny because one of the quotes in the article, see if I get it right, he said, it's like being in a football game and you're in the third quarter and the other team has the ball and the referee comes out and changes the rules, and now only the other team's allowed to run the ball for the last quarter. And he said that's basically what happened to them in the silver market. They changed the rules. You couldn't buy silver. They raised the margin requirements. It was all, I mean, it was pretty sleazy stuff that they did to the Hunt brothers. Anyway, if you can read the article, it goes all the way back to Muammar Gaddafi's involved in this. The government gave Occidental and Gaddafi all the Hunt brothers oil fields over in Libya. they financed Arm& Hammer, who's a communist who owns Occidental. And so, but those guys were all part of the billionaire boys club, so they taught the Hunt brothers a big lesson. The Hunt brothers were vilified, and it's just a real interesting article. I don't know why I brought that up. It doesn't really have a lot to do with what I wanted to say, but it's worth reading. Bunker's gone now. I think he was 88 years old, and it's just a really interesting story. And I guess, to a degree, it's kind of worth knowing because everyone talks about the manipulation and what happens. And, when it gets right down to it, the government can do whatever they want. They went in, they changed all the rules, and they made the market go from $50 down to $10. You just change the rules, you can do whatever you want.